Well, I'm joined by Quayle, Minister for Health and Social Care. Actually, another event, but certainly you've been making the news today about the business with social housing. Now there's not going to be any means testing in place, which has been a major plank of sort of how the Isle of Man government is going to move forward with finding out who deserves to be in houses, who doesn't, or this is as far as the public go. This is the perception that's out there that some people maybe can actually fund their own housing. So we had this in place before your time, I think, wasn't it?
Yes, it was before my time. The policy was brought up, but I've been left to take it forward. But unfortunately, in our research into it, we found out that as a department, we don't have the legal varies to do it. In other words, the legislation at the moment doesn't allow us to take it forward. So what we're going to have to do now is prepare some primary legislation and take it through Tynwald.
But Mr. Quayle, this happened months ago, as far as I can think back now. Well, certainly, obviously, before your tenure. So why was all this not checked then?
I'm afraid I can't comment on that. There was a previous minister, whether he thought he had the varies.
Chris Robert Shaw, right?
Minister Robert Shaw. So whether he thought he had the varies and didn't realise that actually he didn't have the varies, I'm not sure. I haven't had a chance to discuss it fully with him yet. So maybe you better have a word with him.
But when did you get warning that you couldn't do it then?
I found out fairly recently, and once we found out that we couldn't do it, then we've put a press release out today letting people know that we're now going to just go through the normal procedures of going to the local authorities, asking for their feedback on what they think house rents for the coming year should be based on the costs that they've had or increased cost of maintenance, etc. And then we'll be having a board meeting of the department in October, and we'll make an announcement in November of what the rent increase for, or if there's going to be one, for the social houses across the island will be, whereas previously it had been planned that there would be the means testing would come in on the 1st of April 2015. So it's disappointing, but we've got to live within the law. We can't go off and do something, and we clearly haven't got the varies to do it.
So what's the slippage? A whole year then?
Well, yes. I can't give an exact date because I don't know how long it's going to take to draft the primary legislation, and B, get it through Tynwald to get royal assent. So it's going to be at least 12 months.
And for the Man in the Street, just explain, you thought you could just sort of tick a box and just change it, but no, you actually go back to Tynwald and get legislation.
Yeah, it would appear that for means testing to work, you've got to know what people's incomes are. And the Treasury, for example, have the power to do this. And so maybe it was presumed that if Treasury had the power, the Department of Social Care had the power at the time.
So you need to get information, basically, do you? On people?
Yeah. So obviously, you've got if you're in a house, we've got to say, well, how much is your income, and that's how we'll base. That's part of how you'd means test what you should be paying in rent.
And you didn't have right to that income information?
We didn't. It would appear that legally we didn't have that right to say to you, we're not going to give you your house, or you can't stay in your house, or you're going to have to pay more because your income exceeds X amount. Now, we can get those powers, and another department has those powers, but we would appear we do not have those powers in the department, and I'm going to have to bring forward legislation to enable us to move forward with means testing in the future.
Well, obviously, you're just the minister. You rely on your civil servants. I presume there's a lot of... You're quite angry behind the scenes on this, are you?
Well, my civil servants have told me that I don't have it, so we haven't gone ahead with the scheme, and then suddenly found out we don't have the means testing.
But somewhere along the line, there's been a lot of confusion, hasn't there?
Well, I've only been in the job a few months in this area, and we've investigated. I've gone through everything that as a new minister, I've checked the schemes that we're promoting, and as a result of inquiries, we've discovered we don't have the legal varies, so we can't go ahead with the scheme this coming April 2015.